let's get into things here. The 0 Hour
Do it.
Hairline actually watched it because, well, Adam Cole and MJF were on it, so he had to watch it. He didn't really have a choice. And the show kicked off, of course, with that match. But before we get into that, Hairline, I just want your thoughts on when the arena, or pardon me, when the cameras first turned on and you saw the arena and you saw the white ropes and you saw the building was actually very full. Now, they did have large sections tarped off, which I misspoke on X, formerly known as Twitter. I was saying that that section got filled up. It actually didn't. There's pictures from the arena. They had huge sections tarped off. But they were smart. They filled the hard camera side and opposite hard camera side so that when they panned the arena, they could do it in a way where it was almost, they just treated behind the ring opposite of the stage as their hard camera side. That's all they really did, but then they shot it from the typical hard camera side so it looked like, yes, it was full. Now, that being said, we're going to get into the press conference and all the claims made by Tony Khan, etc. later, but I am not a doubter that they probably hit somewhere from 70 to 80K. I'm not one of these marks who, yes, if you're going to make it about the numbers, Dave Meltzer, then we'll make it about the numbers too, Dave Meltzer. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad at Tony Khan or the wrestlers or anybody for putting over, oh, there's 80K there. Vince McMahon worked the numbers 100 and what they worked the numbers there too. Yeah. It's Carney Pro Wrestling. Yeah, we had 10,000. Actually, that's not that big compared to what we're talking about here, but I botched, but it's okay because I'm Vince McMahon now. No, I didn't. I'll just rewrite that history. But yeah, so Tony Khan's rewriting his own history, pal. So that's what he's got to do.
Oh, that'd be real great.
Yeah,
you got drone on. Boy.
I put that entirely over. I have no problem with them working the numbers and shit. And it's all in the language Tony Khan uses. This many tickets distributed. You can't find anywhere that legitimately can prove that more tickets were bought. See, he's playing that lingo. Why? Because he's a fucking piece of shit Carney promoter like the rest of them, and that's fine. I put him over for that. That's part of his genius. We'll get into Tony Khan later because he actually did get over with me with this whole thing a little bit. But
yeah, me too.
Hairline, your thoughts on just the building and well into the show, it was clearly pretty fucking packed. And your thoughts on that and them working the numbers?
Well, first, I want to start off with fucking Renee Moxley Good and Swingy Todd over here talking. I don't know, man. It's fucking. What is Kip Sabian supposed to be? Like,
I don't know. He wore a box on his head for like a year. Return. They just stuck him with Butcher Blade and Bunny. He's still with Penelope Ford. I like that faction. I put it over before, but he has no direction.
Yeah, he looks like Swingy Todd, bro.
Right.
But yeah, man. So now your questions. The arena itself kind of reminded me of what a New Japan show mixed with WrestleMania was the vibes I was getting.
The white ropes.
Well, just the overall look of it. You know what I'm saying? Was very theatrical and just like larger than life.
Right.
I don't mean I don't really give a shit about the color of the ropes.
Right. So I'm a mark for the aesthetic.
All of it was appealing. Yeah. The aesthetic was nice. Yeah, it was appealing. But it's not like, oh, white ropes, bro.
Well, some people were roasting it online, and that's why I asked your opinion, because my opinion on it was
what does that matter?
Exactly. And my opinion on that was it's actually smart though. If you want to break it down psychologically, okay, there's going to be more eyeballs on this than anything, and maybe some people go, oh, is this WWE? I don't know. It's actually smart when you really want to, if you really want to break it down psychologically. But I would have went personally. I'm a mark, and I'm an aesthetics mark. Hairline knows this, so I would have went with purple or something that's just uniquely, no one's done this before, but maybe that would have been a miss too. So I don't know. I liked it, looked visually appealing, and maybe that's because we love WWE, and that's sort of the vibe I got from. I was like, this could trick me into thinking it's WWE. Anyways, Hairline, sorry, you go ahead about the numbers and that.
Again, the numbers, it's I really don't give a shit. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm kind of happy for Tony. Fucking. Back here in the States, life ain't too good. So it's cool. He got one big fucking hoorah. And he's assuming I don't want to be negative, but assuming they're going to be around next year to do Wembley. I don't know, man. Obviously, I kind of side tangenting, but Tony's all about fucking the viewerships and the key demos and all that shit, and they're killing it on that. So I don't know, man. I guess he will just fucking drain his father's fucking bank account to fucking keep
Do
this
you think
vanity
they
project
turned a
going.
profit? Do you think they turned a profit on this show?
Well, they would have to, right? But I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm happy for him. I mean, I'll probably get into that more later, but I'm just happy for him because this was an achievement. And just like a lot of
Yeah,
people
for sure.
say, oh, the TV ratings, the key demos, what about attendance? I mean, this was a great attendance. Now, you can make the argument, well, it's in Europe. Like, there's countries like Scotland that are so depraved of like wrestling that
Right.
will do, and like a whole country will show up. Now, that being said, I mean, you could make that same argument about SummerSlam or any highly attended venue. It's not like, an entire
Yeah, it
city,
doesn't have
every
age.
resident showed up. Yeah, it's obviously even WWE WrestleMania. Will people fly in from all over the world? It was the same thing here. I wrote, okay, they're using the song Machine Head, Bush, this from Oakland, for this all in Wembley event. And the song doesn't really fit. And out of all the legendary UK rock bands, you choose a song. You have Elton John every Saturday, but you couldn't have picked like a different, you can have had Queen or something be the theme of this. That's the
Weren't they
thing. Like,
doing Bush?
yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is
The
that if it was
breathe in, breathe out,
yeah,
breathe in, breathe
I
out.
was like, dude, what is this? A fucking skateboarding movie from fucking dude?
Dude, I
My
haven't
my
listened to
my whole
that
thing is
since
this, right?
like fourth
When
grade.
WWE does like a WrestleMania, I can distinctly remember like if you sang like "Welcome to my house," play that me. I'm like 2015 fucking
Goddamn
Flow
right.
Rider.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
if
All
you
right.
if you put
Goddamn
on
right.
like fucking breathe in, now breathe out, hands up, now hands down, back up, back. Tell me what you like that era. Fucking that's like WrestleMania 18
Yeah.
era. That's like WrestleMania 18. Yeah, I think they use Limp Bizkit. I could tell you, I could associate it. It was like they had no build in like that. Those are the little things they got to start doing, but I'm
Yeah, I
not
get
going to
what you're
shit on them.
saying.
Yeah. So, anyways, and then Mercedes Monet was
Yeah,
shown in
just
the
like,
crowd.
yeah, it'd be nice. What if we use that Bush song? I really like that Bush song. No, but
So,
like, dude, you're completely right, though, man. It's like fucking. I didn't even think about like the little things like that. Like fucking, I pop hard for like I don't like Flow Rider, but I love Flow Rider because I love WWE. You know what I'm saying? Like
mhm.
I don't bump Flow Rider, but if that song came on, it's like I'm marking out because
Oh
like they
yeah,
just fucking throw it in your head.
yeah,
And like, yeah, man, yeah, holy shit, yeah, yeah. Someone needs to fucking say that to Tony, bro.
yeah,
Fuck.
dude. He's got to listen to the pod. I think he is because he started the press
Yeah,
conference with, "It's great, isn't it
yeah,
great?"
fuck yeah, dude.
Anyways, though, so the pay-per-view kicks off. They do pan the crowd, and I think were we talking about this off pod or on pod? I can't remember, but so the arena, the attendance, I mean, it was pretty packed. There was an area that was blocked off, which was opposite of the stage side. I think this was on pod. We were just talking about it. That's how good my memory is, guys. I'm drinking beer.
It was
Smoking
on
weed,
pod.
smoking some weed. Yeah. I on X, I was like, oh, that area got filled. I don't know. I must have been too drunk or something. It wasn't. I guess it was tarped off for quite a while. Maybe they opened some of it up. I'm not sure. This building was fucking full as fuck though. So shout that out.
Hold
Like
on,
when the
though. Hold on.
pay-per-view
Hey, hey,
started,
hey.
it was like, God damn, good for them, man. Sorry, you go ahead, Hairline.
Tarp or untarp, they still sold the 81,000. So like, was it?
Right. And the
It's just
max, and
like,
people were like, oh, well, 90,000. It clearly wasn't that. Da da da. Here's the thing. The setup is 90,000 for football.
which WWE will do.
The 90,000, that's for football matches. And you have to think about in football or soccer, or as you Americans call it, you don't put the fucking seats on the pitch, right? Like there's a bunch of seats on the field too. So yeah, they could have still done 81,000 with a bunch of empty seats. Like they could have had it. Well, people were like, it's set up for this many, but I don't know, man. Like even if there was 10,000 empty seats, the way it was set up, that still could have been 80,000 fucking people. I'm not talking out my ass, I don't think, because you look at the floor, dude, and there wouldn't be seats there for soccer. Who even gives a fuck though? Like myself and Hairline have both said. So the
Yeah,
pay-per-view
like I
starts.
said, man, tarp or no tarp, 81,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you catch Darby calling the spots in the ring all super loud and shit?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it must have been hard
Yeah,
to hear.
fucking.
So a lot of people online were saying, "Oh, the arena didn't sound that loud." We'll get into this more later too, but you got to remember the roof's open, so a lot of that sound floats up and out. right? Like it goes out of the arena. That's why it didn't sound so. You notice that with outdoor WrestleManias too. Either way.
There's like, okay, listen, man, I'm like the most negative AEW person, and like I'm not even whining about any of that shit.
Yeah,
Like, who
yeah.
get like, okay,
We're putting it over
let them have their
81,035,
yeah,
pal.
right. Let them have their one little W, because they're gonna come back and Dynamite's gonna fucking be a shitty fucking hard cam, and like, it's
Well, let's
they're
talk
gonna have
about
to
it.
go back
Let's
to
let's
reality.
like I guess we'll give our overall thoughts on the show. So basically, I wrote some notes here. So we'll go through these
Oh,
last
great.
notes I have here, and then we'll go through Tony Khan snapping in the ring, getting unhinged afterwards, the event. Here's my last note. So there was a lack of replays, and the production wasn't that good for this at all, but they'll refine that over time. I wrote a
Yeah,
subpar
but hold
pay
on.
per
Hey,
view
hey,
for AEW
real quick
standards.
on that.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. Well, I did notice some of the replays were like super sped up. Did you catch any of that or
It
no?
just all wasn't right, and they didn't have them at the right times. They were missing spots. They just need to refine
Well,
that.
like
I
it
don't
was
know what's
literally
going on.
like earlier in the show, it was like literally like when it popped up, it was like fast
It was
forwarding.
at like 1.5 speed or something. Yeah, it's what I mean. I don't know what
Yeah,
they were
yeah, yeah.
trying to do. I wrote AEW doesn't give you
Green.
moments like WWE. I wrote WCW understood that. ECW understood that. TNA, NWA, ROH, AEW, they don't understand moments. They've had a few by proxy of being in wrestling, but we see these same matches, these same spots, these same moves on Dynamite every single week. In the last 2 months, we had a Blood and Guts, Anarchy in the Arena, Stadium Stampede, Texas Chainsaw Death Match. They don't understand that you can take the time to build up to the moments at these events. People were fantasy mark booking, like me, when Nigel McGuinness came out and announced the 81,000, but people were fantasy mark booking, saying Nigel McGuinness is going to get in the ring and open challenge someone, and then Danielson's going to come out to Final Countdown. But even that won't happen because they don't think about fucking legacy and moments. And the Marks chant, "We want tables," when people are stabbing each other and killing each other with barbed wire. And they just chant, "We want tables," because they don't appreciate everything they've done along this way. To go back to what Moxley said when he's like, "God
Yeah,
damn," in anger at the crowd, you can clearly, when they're chanting, "We want tables," he's like, "What the fuck do we got to do?" And it's just that when you do the shit every fucking week, I can't pop for it when the moment happens. WWE doesn't do the crazy shit every week because when it happens at SummerSlam, you go, "Oh my God, what a moment." And that's just what they didn't deliver. I feel like there was kind of two moments, maybe Adam Cole, and then you had the fucking Saraya thing. There's no moments beside, oh, Darby did a crucifix or did the coffin drop and landed on a coffin. I've seen that. I've seen him do it on tables, on the apron. I see it every week. I don't know. It just means I see Moxley bleed and do dumb stab people every week with a screw. Like, why do
I
I care
think,
about it?
dude,
So
you skipped over the greatest moment of the whole show, which is fucking horse shit. We got to
what?
see Fozzy play in front of 81,000 people. God.
Okay, so yeah, so my last notes were these wrestlers just don't touch enough. They don't work the house shows and do the loops wrestling a few times a week, and these big shows always show that. Like they're just figuring out what works between all of them live, whereas there's infamous stories of wrestlers talking about how they figured all their shit out that pops crowds and does this and that, what works and what doesn't with each other on house show loops, and then they bring that to TV. The ladder match, Royal Rumble, etc., were all done off of TV first so that they could refine it. Andre wrestled Hogan like 100 fucking times before Mania. That doesn't exist in AEW except for when the NJPW guys link up, or like the longtime vets, or like Swerve and Darby. They have chemistry clearly, even though they don't put on like classics. Like you can tell they've touched a bunch. But yeah, besides that shit, you don't get that feeling. So that's why the matches don't feel like they're paced correctly. They don't feel like that's all. I wrote they announced they're coming back to Wembley 2024, all in London. So All In is like their new WrestleMania. Hairline, your last thoughts on the event and your thoughts on they are coming back to Wembley next year, 2024. It's going to be their tradition.
Like I said, I think it's a bold claim to say that they're still going to be fucking trucking along in a year. It's going to become that where like the local shows suck, but the TV ratings are good, and then they do huge overseas shows. That you know, if
Where,
AEW
but
doesn't,
overseas, where else do they do one besides there? That gets a big one.
well,
You know.
in the press room that we're about to,
Again, though, that was sort of what I
they were
already.
talking about Mexico. Oh yeah, Puerto Rico and whatnot. We have a lot of fans there.
So, Hairline, do you think there was
Yeah, good for
81,000?
them.
Yeah, good for them. I guess you got to accentuate the positives and yada yada.
No, I
81,000. Yeah.
I believe it's 81,000. It's just like the arena can hold way more than
Yeah.
that, you
Yeah,
know?
because soccer can
Yeah,
hold like
yeah,
90 some. So
right.
without, if you can
And I don't
put
know, we've been over
seats,
this.
yeah, if you can put seats on the pitch, then that means you're fitting what, 100K, you know? So yeah, I bet you there
Yeah.
was 20,000 empty seats, 80,000 people probably there. And then when Tony goes, probably around 90 with staff, probably more around like 80, 85,000, 80, like, you know, in that range probably. But he's working the gimmick, brother. Live the life, man. You got to do it. Anyways, overall, I actually did enjoy this event a lot, but it was definitely not even the best AEW pay-per-view. I don't know, man. Like SummerSlam was crunk compared to this too. I don't know, man. Overall, shout out fucking AEW for pulling this off, and fuck you, Marks, who are like, it's not 80,000. It was 81,035 paid. The man said it. I'll buy into it. Let's go.